I'm looking for work to care for my sick mother. Little alien girl at the workers wanted. The upper terraces of Aurelis Aero Gardens ran on routine. White stone, clean walk paths, controlled air. Citrus spore misters released a soft hiss every few seconds, leaving a faint sting at the back of the throat. People in rainless gray coats crossed under the workers' wanted sign with practiced indifference, eyes forward, pace steady. No one came here to linger. Miri stood beneath the sign on a square of pale, flooring warmed by daylight. She felt scared. Her stomach tightened, and she dug her fingers into the strap of her small satchel. The bells on her ankles trembled each time she shifted her weight, and she kept forcing her chin up to look older than her 8 years. She had spent the last 3 days searching for work, not begging work. She repeated that word like a shield. I can sweep. I can count. I stay quiet, she told each adult who slowed half a second. I'll work for a meal. Most ignored her. Some frowned at the sight of a child speaking that way. She bit the inside of her cheek to stop tears from forming. Crying would make her look smaller, and smaller meant invisible. She needed someone to hear her today. Cade Riven paused a few steps away. He took in the scene with a quick, controlled scan. Years as a field scout and medic had taught him to read people fast. Posture, breath, tension. He wasn't military anymore and rarely admitted the past, but the habit stayed. Today, he was here on his routine route toward a misline check. His microclimate calibration studio sat 2 terraces over, and he usually picked up his noon coffee before opening shop. The workers' wanted sign was familiar. Desperate people gathered here often, but he had never seen a child handling it alone. He stepped closer. Who taught you to stand here and ask like that? Miri straightened. She felt defensive. Heat rose to her cheeks. No one. I'm doing it because my mother can't walk today. She's sick. I need food for her. Cade's jaw tightened. He remembered field stations where pride killed faster than wounds when people waited too long to ask for help. He said, you can count. How well? Up to 100, she answered without thinking. She lifted her satchel. I have a cloth and a brush. I clean too. I'm not trouble. Her directness impressed him. No excuses, no sob story, simple facts. Where is your mother? On a bench, under the citrus spray. Her voice thinned with fear when she said citrus. She already understood it wasn't safe for her mother. That meant this wasn't the first reaction. Cade nodded once. Decision made. They moved through the flow of people. Miri kept half a step ahead, guiding him with short gestures. The misters here ran at midday cycle. Fine droplets of citrus oil mixed in a vapor, meant to scent the orchard air and deter insects. The system worked well for humans. Less so for certain hybrid species. Navera sat on a bench near the mist heads, back straight but unsteady. She felt dizzy. Her vision blurred at the edges. She kept her shoulders pulled back to appear composed, but her fingers gripped the bench too tight, nails pressing into the wood. Her skin, violet with a faint silver undertone, showed blotches along her neck and collarbone. Her long white hair clung to her skin, damp from the vapor. She wore a thin tied wrap top that crossed at one shoulder, a short market skirt split high on one thigh for movement, and a worn shawl tied low across her ribs to keep warm. She had dressed to appear capable, not pitiful. Today, it only highlighted her state. She looked up as Miri returned, eyes sharpening when she saw the man behind her daughter. You brought someone. Her pride flared with caution. She hated looking weak in front of strangers. This is the man who stopped, Miri said softly. Cade spoke with calm, practical clarity. You're reacting to the citrus mist. Your pupils are pinning. Your breathing is shallow. We need to move you out of this zone. Navera bristled. She felt cornered. I don't need rescue. I just need air. You're not getting any here, he answered. He reached past her and turned the nearest valve 90 degrees, decreasing the mist flow. Stand slowly. I won't touch you unless you ask. A warden in a gray coat stopped nearby, scanning their interaction with suspicion. Is there a problem? No solicitation is allowed on this terrace. Miri tensed. Fear shot through her, and her bells fell silent as she froze. Cade faced the warden without raising his voice. His tone shifted into firm, clipped authority. Citrus exposure. Medical. I'm moving her to a clean corridor. Guild clearance. He showed his microclimate guild stamp. The warden hesitated, recognizing the seal. Fine. Make it quick. Cade leaned close enough for Navera to hear him clearly. Walk with me. I'll lead. Miri will stay on your right. Navera felt unsteady, but agreed because his tone held no judgment, only direction. If I fall, I stand up on my own, she muttered. Then tell me before you fall, he replied. No injuries today. They crossed out of the mist zone. The change in air hit fast, dry, clean, easier to breathe. Navera inhaled with relief, and her shoulders loosened. Cade kept his pace measured to match hers. He didn't hover, didn't crowd, just stayed near enough if she needed balance. Miri walked close, studying Cade's hands. Are you a doctor? Not anymore, he said. I run a microclimate studio. I fix air systems, not people. But you knew what to do, she said. I've seen it before, he answered. Short truth, nothing extra. They reached a quiet cul-de-sac with a small sign. Microclimate Calibration Studio. Cade unlocked the door. Inside, the studio was compact and orderly. White slats, benches with tools, racks of mist nozzles, and photonic leaves pulsing soft green light. It smelled of metal, tea, and clean air. Navera hesitated at the threshold. She felt exposed. Entering meant accepting help. If she accepted help, she owed something. We won't stay long. You'll stay long enough to breathe steady, he said. After that, you decide. He pointed to a side alcove with a steam unit. Decontamination. Warm water vapor only. It removes the oil from your skin and lungs. Navera stood tall out of instinct, as if posture could protect dignity. Do I need to remove clothing? No, Cade said. Keep everything on. It's not that kind of rinse. Her cheeks warmed. His blunt, neutral delivery diffused the tension. Fine. Miri climbed onto a stool, clutching the shawl. I can help. Tell me what to do. Cade prepared the steam unit while speaking to her. You can count her breaths. Slow and steady. 20. Twice. Miri nodded with seriousness beyond her age. I'll do it right. The steam started. Navera stepped into it. Heat spread across her skin, loosening her chest. The silver blotches on her throat faded slowly. She exhaled, shaky but easing. I should have known better, Navera said quietly. We passed through mist halls before. I thought I could handle one more. You lasted too long near it, Cade said. It hits faster each time. Not your fault. The system favors human lungs. She absorbed that. Blame usually landed on her for not coping. Hearing a clear reason steadied her. He held an ampoule. These drops reduced the internal flare. Under the tongue, he waited for her nod. She opened her mouth and held his gaze as he administered the dose. He appreciated that she stayed present instead of shrinking. He mixed a drink. Orvan water warmed slightly. Crushed Frolan seeds stirred in. The smell was earthy and nutty. Sipped slowly. Miri counted breaths with a quiet voice. 9, 10, 11. She didn't break concentration once. Navera's pulse slowed. She felt the tightness leave her ribs. Relief made her eyes sting, and she hated that it showed. She turned her head away for a second. Cade pretended not to notice, giving her space. He assessed her again. Colors returning. Pupils normal. You'll be okay. Navera met his eyes. You are very calm when others panic. It's a habit, he said. I used to work in field emergencies. Calm kept people alive. I don't want to be a burden, she said. You're not. You're a person who had a reaction. It's a fixable problem. The simplicity of that sentence hit her harder than the steam. No pity, just truth. Miri finished counting and looked up. Did I do the task right? Yes, Cade said. He took a small credit chit from a drawer and slid it toward her. Payment. Miri blinked. You're paying me? You worked. You get paid. Miri pushed the chit toward her mother. She decides what we use it for. Navera closed her eyes for a second. That loyalty stung in a good way. We'll buy meat. Real meat. Cade nodded. Good choice. He moved to the cooktop and placed thin slices of Thai beef on a heated pan. The meat sizzled, releasing a rich, savory smell. He sprinkled red salt. This will help stabilize your strength. Eat first, talk later. They ate at a small table. The texture of the Thai beef was firm, edges crisp, seasoned enough to taste like something earned. Miri chewed with focused joy. Kate finally asked, "How long have you been on the terraces?" 3 months, Navarra said. "Work comes, then stops. We move often. People don't like hybrids staying long." "You shouldn't be using missed corridors at all," he said. "There are clean routes." "We never learn them," she said. "No one teaches people like us." Kate made a quiet decision. He planned to guide her through the steps she needed to regain her independence, even if she didn't fully understand them yet. "I'll show you one clean route today. You can choose whether to learn more after that." Navarra lifted her chin. "We don't need charity." "It's not charity," he said. "It's information. What you do with it is yours." Miri wiped her mouth and raised her hand. "If we go outside again, should I talk or stay quiet?" Kate thought for one beat. Talk when needed. Silence is not safety. Awareness is. Miri processed that with a small nod. A muffled chime sounded from Cade's work slate. He glanced at the notification. "I have a client waiting for a missed adjustment on Orchard Balcony 12. He looked at Navarra. "You can rest here or come. If you come, you learn the safe path." Navarra hesitated. Rest was safer. Walking meant facing people again. But Miri looked hopeful, and Navarra refused to raise a daughter who hid. "We will come," she said. "But I walk beside you, not behind." "That works," he said. He packed a small toolkit, slipped it into a side bag, and opened the door. The corridor air felt clean and plain, no citrus at all. Navarra stepped into it with a deeper breath. Miri slipped between them and spoke quietly, voice both fragile and proud. "If I am brave, can we eat 2 meats tonight?" Kate gave a single nod. "If you're brave, we'll make it 3. For the first time that day, Miri's bells rang with something that sounded like excitement rather than fear. The walk to Orchard Balcony 12 began with quiet footsteps on clean stone. The corridor ahead was lined with low handrails and utility panels. No missed heads. The neutral air felt safe and plain. Navarra's breathing stayed steady, but a faint tension sat in her shoulders. She didn't fully trust that the worst was over. Kate noticed. He felt responsible. His focus sharpened, checking her pace, Miri's energy, and the route ahead. He planned to teach Navarra how to move through this district without risking her health again. But he needed to introduce each step gradually so she wouldn't feel overwhelmed or controlled. "We'll take the long route," he said. "Fewer crowds. 1 flight of stairs." Navarra adjusted her shawl. "I prefer stairs to eyes on us." Kate nodded. "Understood." Miri walked between them, bells on her ankles chiming softly. She kicked at a painted line on the floor. "Do all the misters hurt my mother? Or only the orange ones?" "Only the citrus oil ones," Kate said. "The blue ones are safe for her. They use plain water, no scent." Miri squinted at him. "How do you know which is which?" He slowed near the next junction and pointed at a mist head high on the wall. "Orange stripe means citrus. Blue means neutral. If you smell fruit before you see mist, avoid it." Navarra took in the detail with a small frown. "No one tells us these things." "They should," he said. They reached a stairwell. The walls here were older, scuffed from deliveries and foot traffic. A crate of sealed produce boxes sat near the landing, labeled with orchard names. Cade's hand hovered near Navarra's elbow without touching, ready if her balance dipped. She noticed the gesture, not controlling, just prepared. "I can walk down on my own," she said. "I know," he replied. "I stay close until your lungs settle for good." She didn't argue. As they descended, a question weighed on Navarra. She needed clarity. "You said you had worked emergencies before. Why choose this quiet job now?" "Fixing air and lights." He tightened the strap of his toolkit. "I wanted something that didn't depend on people getting hurt to matter. Here, if I do my job well, no one collapses in the first place." She absorbed that. It explained his calm and the way he stepped in without hesitation. At the bottom of the stairs, the air shifted cooler. A faint scent of grilled vegetables drifted from nearby vendor stalls. Miri's stomach growled loudly. She slapped both hands over her belly, embarrassed. Cade's mouth pulled into the edge of a smile he rarely let show. "You'll eat again after we finish at the balcony." They crossed to a narrow walkway bordered by vines. Small fruits grew in clusters, light catching on their skins. Miri reached toward one. "Not these," Cade said gently. "They're treated. Laundry detergent taste." Miri wrinkled her nose. "Why would anyone eat fruit that tastes like soap?" "They don't," Navera said. "Those are for perfume extracts." Miri blinked at her mother. "You knew that." Navera straightened slightly. "I worked at a scent stall long ago." Briefly. The admission came quietly, but Cade caught the pride mixed with discomfort. Scent stall work is skilled. Mixing levels, measuring dose, takes a good nose. Navera's expression eased. Being recognized for something real, not pitted for illness, settled something in her chest. They reached the final stretch to Orchard Balcony 12. The balcony overlooked rows of neat fruit trees grown in nutrient beds. Mist arms extended above them, currently idle. A few workers adjusted crates, loading them for the next transport lift. Cade pointed to a small panel beside the entry. "This balcony uses citrus in the morning and evening. Midday is safe, but I still check first." He tapped the panel. A neutral green light flashed. Clear. A worker, a broad-shouldered man in a stained apron, glanced over. "You the auditor?" "Yes," Cade said. "You're early." "Got pulled into something important," Cade replied. His glance toward Navera was brief, not explanatory. The worker's gaze drifted to Navera and Miri. His brow tightened with judgment. "They with you?" "Yes," Cade said, tone neutral. "They're observing the route." The worker shrugged in a way that suggested disapproval. "Your studio, your call." Cade didn't react. He didn't give space for comments about who he walked with. "Show me the nozzle giving trouble." The man led him to a mist head above the second row. Cade opened the panel and knelt. Toolkit open, movements efficient. He felt focused. The work grounded him. Miri watched closely, eyes following each tool. "Why is it leaking?" "The gasket is worn," Cade said. "It happens when people run extra cycles to freshen the air for sales. The parts burn out faster." The worker scowled. "Customers like the smell." "At the cost of safety for some," Cade said. The worker shrugged again, unapologetic. "Not my problem. Most customers are human." Navera tensed at that. She felt anger rise, but exhaustion held her back from a sharp response. Cade tightened the new gasket. "It is my problem when it causes collapses on the public terrace." The worker folded his arms. "Are you lecturing me?" "No, I'm stating cause and effect." Cade stood. "Run a 5-second test." The mist head released a brief neutral spray. No scent, no leak. Good seal. Miri clapped once. "It worked on the first try." "It helps to know the system," Cade said. "That's why I wanted you both to come. You need to know which places are safe at which times. Not just today, always." Navera met his eyes. She understood. He wasn't rescuing her. He was preparing her not to need rescue again. The worker muttered under his breath, mixing with hybrids now. Not loud enough for a complaint, but enough to sting. Cade heard it. He didn't confront him here. Picking a fight would do nothing. Instead, he went to the balcony ledger and signed off the repair with crisp handwriting. "Your system is stable. Don't increase the cycle without recalibration." As they stepped out of earshot, Navera spoke low. "People will think we're attached to you. They can think what they want," Cade said. "What matters is you learn the safe paths. After that, whether you stay connected to me or not is your choice." The honesty in that statement landed deeper than any reassurance would have. Miri tugged his sleeve. "I want to learn more clean paths. Not just this one." "You will," he said. "One per day. No rushing." Miri nodded with firm commitment. Before leaving, Cade stopped by a small grill stall operated by an older woman with grease-stained gloves. The smell of sizzling skewers filled the air, tied beef mixed with spicy marinade. Miri's eyes widened. Cade placed the credit sheet Miri earned on the counter. 1 skewer, paid by her work. The vendor smiled at Miri directly. "Your money, your choice of spice." Miri hesitated. The decision held weight for her. She looked at her mother. Navera gave one short nod. Miri lifted her chin. "Medium spicy, not baby spicy." The vendor grinned and handed her a skewer with a sprinkle of red flakes. Miri bit in. Heat hit her tongue and she squeezed her eyes shut, chewing fast, then grinned. 3 meats tonight still? That depends on your bravery." Cade said. I was brave, she said through a hot mouth. You were, he agreed. They headed toward the return path. Navarra walked with more stability than before. The food, the fresh air, the small victories, each gave a piece of strength back. Halfway down the walkway, Navarra slowed. She looked at Cade, voice steady but vulnerable. Why help us? Truly, you could have walked past. Cade considered his answer for a moment, wanting it clear. I saw a girl doing everything right and still being ignored. I don't like systems that fail people who try. If I can fix the parts one touch, I will. You don't owe me for that. Navarra held his gaze. She felt seen in a way that wasn't charity or pity. She nodded once. Then we won't waste what you gave today. You didn't receive anything, he corrected. You earned more than you think. As they approached the studio again, the air felt different, not just cleaner, but more familiar. The three of them walked closer together than they had earlier. Not as strangers tied by crisis, but as people who had faced something together and moved through it. When the studio door shut behind them, Navarra exhaled slowly, and it sounded like the first real breath of the day. The studio door closed behind them, soft and final. Afternoon light filtered through the narrow window slats, casting clean lines across the floor. The air inside felt calm, neutral, safe. Navarra's shoulders eased by a fraction as she sat on the low bench, pulling her shawl around her ribs for warmth. She felt tired. Her limbs felt heavy, and a faint tremble lingered in her fingers, but her breathing stayed clear. Cade set his toolkit on the counter and washed his hands at the small sink. He moved with practiced efficiency, sleeves still rolled, water running clear over faint scars. He felt focused. The day was only half over, and he needed to set a routine before fatigue caught up with Navarra again. You're stable now, he said, drying his hands. But citrus exposure hits in waves. You need rest and food before the next step. Navarra raised an eyebrow. Next step? He met her eyes. Building your independence. One skill a day. Nothing dramatic. She absorbed that, unsure how to respond to a promise that didn't demand something in return. Miri climbed onto the stool by the counter, kicking her feet. Can we stay until my mother stops shaking? Cade grabbed a folded cloth from a shelf and placed it on the bench beside Navarra. Yes, for now, this is the safest place you have. He meant it as a simple fact, not an invitation for attachment, but the air shifted slightly with the weight of the words. Navarra cleared her throat. She needed a clearer understanding of him. Earlier, the worker at the orchard looked at us like we didn't belong. Does that happen often here? It happens, Cade said. He leaned against the counter, arms crossed. Aurelis pretends to be neutral. It isn't. People judge fast. Hybrids get hit first. Children even faster. His voice stayed level, but a hint of irritation edged his last words. Miri fiddled with the bells on her ankle. Back where we came from, there were worse places. People threw food at us once, but it was rotten. Navarra touched her daughter's knee gently. We left because I refused to let her grow up shrinking. Cade heard the steel beneath her exhaustion. He respected it. Leaving was the right call. Staying alive and unseen isn't living. He moved to the small kitchenette and pulled out a sealed container. The smell of marinated Thai beef and spices escaped as he opened it. He heated a pan and set the slices to cook. The sizzle filled the studio, rich and grounding. Miri sniffed the air, eyes widening. Is that for us or for customers? For all of us, Cade said. And before you ask, no, you're not paying for this part. You've earned your meal today already. Miri brightened, swinging her legs. So tomorrow, I earn another one. If you want, he said. But I won't let you think food only comes if you work while your mother recovers. Navarra watched him cook. The simple domestic action unsettled her in a way she didn't show. She felt grateful, which made her uneasy. Gratitude could turn into obligation, and she had spent years avoiding debt to anyone. You live alone? She asked, keeping her tone neutral. Yes, he said. Studio in front. Small room in the back. Enough space for one. Sometimes two if I'm repairing overnight. Family? She asked. No, he answered calm and direct. I grew up on a ground colony. Joined a field unit young. Learned too much about emergencies and not enough about staying still. After I left the unit, I came here. It was supposed to be temporary. It turned permanent. Miri tilted her head. So, you know how to help people, but you don't like being around many people? Cade paused at her accuracy. Crowds waste energy. I prefer small spaces where I can fix what's broken. Miri nodded like this made perfect sense. We're small. He huffed a quiet breath, almost a laugh. Yes, you are. Their plates filled, Thai beef still sizzling, edges crisp, served with thin slices of bread warmed on the skillet. He placed the plates down. Miri blew on her food, then took a bite and hummed at the taste. Navera ate slower, steadying her system. While they ate, Cade pulled a thin polymer strip from a drawer. It had a simple map of safe corridors, 2 routes drawn in dark ink. He set it beside Navera. This is today's route. You walked it once with me. Tomorrow, you walk it with Miri while I follow at a distance, unless you say otherwise. Navera placed her fingertips on the strip. The gesture felt heavier than touching paper. You expect us to stay here until tomorrow. I expect you to rest, he said. You can leave tonight if you choose. But if you stay, you learn another route tomorrow. After a week, you won't need me. His intent was clear, temporary support that led to self-reliance, not ownership or debt. Miri swallowed a mouthful and leaned forward. If we stay, do we sleep on the floor or on the bench? Navera closed her eyes briefly. Embarrassment pricked her. We're not staying overnight. We don't impose. Cade stood, wiped his hands, and opened a sliding panel near the back. A small room appeared. Simple bed, folded blanket, a storage shelf. Clean, warm light, no clutter. You won't impose, he said. I wasn't offering charity. I'm offering a safe night, because stepping back out while your mother's strength is half-tank is foolish. Navera looked at the open room. She felt pulled between instinct and logic. Instinct said leaving kept her pride intact. Logic said staying kept her daughter healthy. She tested him. What do you expect in return if we stay? Respect for the space, Cade said. And honesty. If you need something, say it. If you don't, also say it. No hidden strings. No conditional tone. She tried to detect any sign of personal agenda. She didn't find one. Miri slid off the stool, walked to the room, and tested the bed by pressing both palms into it. She turned, hopeful. It's soft. Navera exhaled, tension easing. One night, she said finally, only until she has her strength tomorrow. Good, Cade said. Then tomorrow starts your training. She narrowed her eyes. Training for what exactly? To move through this city without getting hurt, he said. To handle wardens without shrinking. To know which air you can breathe and which you can't. To walk in daylight without asking permission. The directness struck her harder than kindness would have. It told her he saw her as someone capable of more than survival. Miri climbed onto the bed fully. The bells on her ankle jingled once as she sat her day. If we're training, do I get homework? Yes, Cade said, but I'll keep it short. I don't waste a child's time. She gave a sleepy smile and curled up on the blanket. Navera stood, slower this time but steady. She faced Cade. If we stay, you set the rules. But I set one too. Let's hear it, he said. No pity, she said. Not toward me. Not toward her. We are not here to be fixed. He held her stare. Agreed. A quiet understanding settled between them. Not warmth yet, but something solid enough to hold until morning. Night settled quietly over the studio. The hum of the air filters softened and the terrace outside dimmed to low blue lamps. Navera lay awake on the bed beside Miri, who had fallen asleep within minutes, one hand still clutching the edge of her shawl. The bells at Miri's ankle rested silent. Navera listened to the subtle shifts in the room, the click of metal cooling, the low pulse of the leaf panels. She felt uneasy. Safety felt unfamiliar, and unfamiliarity made her alert. Cade sat at his small desk in the adjoining room, updating notes on the day's repairs. He wrote in crisp lines, noting the orchard nozzle replacement and future checks. He paused to roll the ache from his shoulder. The quiet around him felt different now, not empty, just shared. He wasn't sure how he felt about that. Comfortable, but cautious. He didn't want them dependent on him, yet he didn't want them walking back into danger unprepared. He stood and walked to the back room, stopping at the doorway. Need anything before I turn off the main lights? Navera pushed herself up on one elbow. Water. He handed her a cup, waited while she sipped. Her fingers shook less than earlier. That mattered. You should sleep, he said. I'm used to sleeping lightly, she replied. We move shelters often. Staying in one place is difficult. It's one night, he said. No one knows you're here. No one will come through that door except me. Her eyes flicked to the lock. Do you lock it at night? Yes. From the inside. For your safety and mine. Navera gave a small nod. Boundaries were clear. That eased something in her. Cade stepped back, ready to leave them in peace. But she spoke again, quiet, not probing, just seeking clarity needed for rest. You said you grew up on a ground colony. Why leave? Most people fight for a chance to live above sea level. He leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed loosely. My colony was hit by a structural collapse when I was 17. I pulled people out until help came. After that, I joined field response teams. Spent too many years treating emergencies caused by systems that should have been designed better. Eventually, I stopped trying to patch disasters and moved somewhere I could prevent them instead. Navera listened with attention, not sympathy. And yet today, you patched a disaster anyway. He looked at her directly. Because no one should collapse in the middle of the public terrace while everyone watches. The plain conviction in his voice removed the distance between them for a short moment. I'm not used to someone stepping in without wanting something later, Navera admitted. It unsettles me. It's temporary, Cade said. Not a rescue. A course correction. She absorbed that phrasing. Temporary help she could accept. He turned off the main lights, leaving only the low hallway glow. Wake me if you feel short of breath. Even a small change. I won't bother you unless necessary. If it's health, it's necessary, he said firmly, then left her to rest. Hours passed. Miri slept heavily, comfort making her limbs loose. Navera stayed half alert. At one point, she shifted and felt her muscles ache more than expected. She quietly sat up and checked her daughter's temperature and breathing with practiced fingers. Normal. That eased some of the tightness in her chest. She lay back down. Morning arrived with warm light through the slats and the smell of cooking. Eggs, spiced bread warming on the pan, and brewed tea. Navera woke slowly, blinking at the unfamiliar sensation of waking in warmth, not cold. Miri stretched beside her and yawned wide. It wasn't a dream, Miri whispered. No, Navera said softly. Not a dream. They stepped into the main room. Cade was already dressed in his ash shirt and dark trousers, hair damp from a quick wash. His posture was alert, already in work mode. He set plates on the table, scrambled eggs with herbs, toasted slices of bread, and soft cheese. Nothing fancy, but real food. Miri's eyes lit. Are we eating here again? Yes, Cade said. One rule for mornings, eat before decisions. Navera sat, smoothing her hair. She noticed a folded clean shirt placed at the edge of the table. Hers had dried overnight, but he'd left an option in case she preferred fresh fabric. A small detail, but respectful. As they ate, he watched her discreetly. Any dizziness? No, she said, breathing steady. Just muscle fatigue. That's normal after exposure. Today will be light. No long walking until afternoon. Miri chewed quickly and wiped her mouth. Do I have homework? Cade nodded. 2 tasks. First, identify 3 safe markers for neutral air. Second, learn how to check a mist valve without touching it. Navera frowned slightly. Why would she need to know that second one? In case a valve leaks near her, he said. If she knows the sound of pressure loss, she can pull you away fast. That made sense. Navera appreciated that his lessons included Miri's safety too, not just her own. After breakfast, Cade slid a small woven bag across the table. Inside were 3 basic essentials: soap, a clean cloth, and a child-sized toothbrush still sealed. I keep extra supplies for clients who work long shifts here. If you're staying one more night, use what you need. Navera lifted the items, surprised by the practicality. Not charity, supplies. It landed better than she expected. Miri looked at the toothbrush with awe. It's new. It's yours, Cade said. You don't return it. Miri held it like a treasure. Cade glanced at Navera. I'll step out for 30 minutes to pick up an order. You can stay inside. Or come with me if you feel ready. Nevera hesitated. Staying inside was safer. Going out meant dealing with looks again. But she needed to move forward if she wanted independence. "We'll come," she said. "If we hide all day, tomorrow won't be easier." He nodded once. "Then dress warm. The morning air near the vendor sector runs colder." Miri hopped off the stool, clutching the toothbrush. "Do we still get 3 meats tonight if I'm brave again?" "That depends," Cade said, picking up his keys. "Bravery looks different each day. Today, it might be stepping outside without lowering your eyes." Nevera fastened her shawl with a small knot. Miri tucked her bells under the hem to keep them quiet. As they prepared to leave, Cade watched both of them and felt a shift he hadn't expected this soon. Responsibility wasn't a burden today. It felt chosen. He opened the door. Cool air met them. This time they stepped out side by side. The vendor sector sat one terrace below the orchard lanes, busier and rougher around the edges. Morning stalls were opening, metal shutters clattering upward, steam from food griddles rising into the cool air. The scent of fried dough, sea spice broth, and roasted grain mixed with the sharp tang of cleaning solution. People moved with purpose, workers grabbing breakfast before shifts, vendors restocking, wardens doing slow passes. Cade walked slightly ahead, not to lead, but to clear space. He felt alert. He wanted Nevera exposed to real, terrace traffic again, but without letting her face the noise alone. His plan for today was controlled exposure. One market circuit, one brief interaction, then back to safety. Miri held her satchel close, toothbrush tucked inside like a valuable. She stayed near Nevera's side, but her eyes stayed open, curious rather than frightened. That mattered. "Remember what you're practicing," Cade said quietly as they approached the first row of stalls. "Head level. Breathe steady. Choose what you look at. Don't scam like prey." Nevera adjusted her shawl so it sat clean across her shoulders. She felt tense but determined. "I'm not here to perform confidence for them." "You're not," Cade said. "You're building muscle memory so your body doesn't lock up next time." She accepted that. It felt practical, not patronizing. They paused at a stall selling folded bread filled with spice greens and egg strips. A young vendor with a pierced eyebrow greeted customers with easy charm. When he noticed Miri watching the steaming food, he leaned forward with a small smile. "First meal?" he asked. "Second," Miri said, chin lifted with pride. Nevera stepped closer, prepared to shield her daughter if needed, but the vendor's smile remained warm. Cade ordered 3 small rolls. The vendor wrapped them in thin paper and handed one to Miri directly. "Eat slow. Hot inside." Miri blew on it, then took a cautious bite. Her eyes lit up, cheeks puffed. "It tastes like the sun is eating breakfast too." Nevera blinked. "Where did that come from?" Miri shrugged, mouth full. They continued along the row. It should have been simple, just a walk, just food, but at the second corner, voices rose. A pair of middle-aged women near a fruit stall exchanged low comments after looking Nevera over. Their tone wasn't loud, but it carried. "Can't keep them out of the upper terraces now, can we?" one whispered. "Human men get soft," the other muttered. "Taking anything that looks exotic." Nevera's back stiffened. Heat climbed her neck. Old instinct told her to leave, to shrink, to avoid attention. She hated that the words hit so quickly. Cade stopped walking and turned. Not aggressively, not confrontational, just enough that his presence landed. His voice stayed calm, grounded. "Move along if you're not buying. This stall doesn't serve gossip." The women startled at the direct call-out. Neither wanted a scene with a guild-cleared worker. They walked away with stiff shoulders. Nevera kept her gaze forward. "You didn't have to answer them." "Yes, I did," Cade said. "Not for you. For her." He nodded at Miri. Miri looked between them. "Why?" They were just talking. Cade crouched to meet her eye level. Words plant ideas. If someone says them in front of you, and no one pushes back, those ideas stick to you. I don't let harmful things stick to children. Miri processed that, then nodded once, serious. Good rule. They reached the supply kiosk, today's original reason for the trip. Cade picked up sealed filter cartridges and a replacement sensor. The kiosk clerk scanned the items, eyes drifting toward Nevera and Miri as if trying to calculate a story. You're housing them? The clerk asked. No, Kate said. I'm teaching them the safe routes. It's part of my guild role to prevent incidents caused by air systems. The clerk accepted that answer quickly. Adding the word guild always changed how people listened. With supplies secured, Cade signaled the end of the exposure. We're heading back. Navera released a breath she hadn't realized she held. It wasn't relief from the market. It was relief from the part of herself that expected something to go wrong. Nothing had. That felt new. On the walk back, Miri tugged at Navera's hand. Did I do brave today? Navera thought about it. You stayed open. You didn't hide. Yes, you were brave. Miri looked at Cade. Does that count for the 3 meets? Cade considered her seriously, as if filing a report. You earned 1 meet for the walk, 1 for holding your space when people stared, and 1 for trying new food without flinching. That makes 3. Miri raised both fists in a quiet victory. Back inside the studio, Navera sat at the table while Cade stored the cartridges. Her body felt lighter, but her thoughts churned. She wanted clarity before moving forward. What happens after this week? She asked. When we've learned the routes. When I can manage without help. Cade closed the cabinet. Then you choose what you want your life on Aurelis to look like. Work, housing, routine. If you want, I'll connect you to people who hire without prejudice. If you'd rather move on, I won't hold you here. Navera studied him, trying to detect the string attached. There wasn't one. And if we choose to stay near this terrace? She asked quietly. Kate held her gaze, steady. Then we live as neighbors. Not charity, not obligation. He didn't say as something more. He didn't hint or push. Their restraint made her chest tighten more than a confession would have. Miri climbed on the stool beside Navera, still energized. What's my homework now? You learned enough for 1 morning, Kate said. Midday rest, then training. Navera frowned. Training today too? Short, he said. I want your body to associate moving through the terrace with control, not survival. His approach was systematic, and she recognized it. He wasn't pulling them into his life emotionally. He was structuring their steps like a recovery plan. Navera leaned back, absorbing the day. Her hands had stopped shaking. Her daughter had eaten twice. No one had driven them off a terrace. She still didn't know what tomorrow would bring, but for the first time in months, she wasn't thinking about the next shelter. She was thinking about the next lesson. And that shift, small, quiet, almost unnoticeable, felt like the beginning of something she didn't yet dare name. The midday rest didn't last long. After half an hour, Cade tapped lightly on the doorframe, keeping his voice low so he didn't startle either of them. Training round, he said, short and controlled. Navera stood, smoothing her shawl. She felt more grounded than she expected after the morning. Her muscles still ached, but her breathing held steady. She wasn't sure if she was ready for more, yet she didn't want to lose the momentum she'd gained. What kind of training? She asked. Controlled exposure to a mild trigger, Cade said. Not citrus, just a busier walkway. You choose the pace. I stay within reach, but I don't interfere unless you ask. Navera nodded. Fine, we'll do it. Miri perked up. Do I train too? Only if you listen and follow exactly, Cade said. Training is not a game. Miri straightened her posture. I can be serious. Cade believed her. Before stepping outside, he placed a small strip of neutral balm in Navera's hand. Rub along your collarbones. It blocks trace oil if we pass a scented stall. She applied it, noticing the clean, herbal smell. Why didn't you give this yesterday? You needed to learn the signs first. Tools come after awareness. They exited the studio. This time, Cade didn't walk ahead. He matched Navera's stride, allowing her to take the lead. It was intentional. If she learned to navigate without hiding behind him, the city would feel less hostile. The walkway outside was moderately busy. Workers returned from lunch breaks. Deliveries rolled past on small hover carts. Conversations blended with the hum of vents and the clink of dishes from nearby food counters. Navera felt a flicker of tension. Her ribs tightened. She inhaled slowly, grounding herself. Cade noticed but didn't step in. Instead, he offered a quiet anchor. Pick one point straight ahead. Walk to it. Don't track faces, just direction. She focused on a plant fixture mounted halfway down the walkway. Simple, Solid. She moved toward it, pace measured. Miri walked close, but not clutching her mother this time, just present. A pair of workers passed them. One stared openly at Navera's markings, silver undertones visible on her neck with a shawl dipped. His gaze lingered too long. Navera's instinct screamed to shrink, to turn away. She forced her chin level and kept walking. Miri's voice stayed low but firm. That was rude. Yes, it was, Navera said, keeping her tone even. Kate added quietly, you responded the right way. You didn't give them your time. The small acknowledgement worked better than praise. It reinforced her agency, not his involvement. Near the bend, a vendor splashed a bucket of scented wash onto the tiles. The sharp floral hit the air. Navera flinched and stepped sideways. Kate responded instantly, but calmly. Slow. Cover nose. 3 breaths through the balm. He held up his hand to show the pace. Navera copied the gesture. The scent faded enough to continue. They passed without incident. Once they reached the end of the walkway, Kate stopped. That's enough for today. Navera blinked. That was it. Yes, he said. You don't train until failure. You train until control. Her shoulders lowered with relief she hadn't realized she needed. They returned to the studio at an easier pace. Inside, the air felt warmer, familiar. Miri kicked off her sandals and hurried to her stool. Did I earn anything for training? She asked. Kate hung his bag on the wall. You earned choice. You picked tonight's seasoning for the meat. Miri gasped softly, dramatic. Even the spicy one. If your mother agrees, he said, glancing at Navera. Navera pretended to think, then nodded once, slow. Spicy. If she plans to be brave, she should taste it. Miri looked proud enough to burst. Kate prepared dinner early. Thin cuts of Thai beef again, this time marinated with crushed red seeds Miri pointed to. The smell filled the studio, hot, savory, rich. Navera sat nearby, watching his hands with curiosity rather than guardedness. You use spices like someone who grew up with flavor, she said. My mother cooked for workers on my colony, he said. If a meal tasted weak, she called it wasting hunger. I learned early. Navera allowed a small, real smile. Your mother sounds like someone who never let excuses stand. She didn't, he replied. While the meat sizzled, Navera glanced toward the small room where they had slept. If we stay tonight again, it won't become habit. It becomes habit only if you stop moving forward, Cade said. You didn't. Today you pushed further. She appreciated that he didn't soften the truth to soothe her. It made trusting him easier. After dinner, Miri washed her own dish without being asked. Water sloshed. She hummed through the task, ankle bells chiming lightly. Navera wiped the table. You treat her like someone who can handle responsibility. She can, Cade said. Children understand more when they're included. Exclusion teaches fear. Navera paused mid-wipe. That hit deeper than he intended, but she didn't turn away from it. I was excluded most of my life. I don't want that for her. He met her eyes. Then she won't be. The conversation settled into a quiet that felt steady, not awkward. Later, with the studio dimmed again, Miri lay down quickly, exhaustion from the day catching her all at once. Navera stayed at the table, arms folded loosely, eyes on the door. You're waiting for something to go wrong, Kate observed. It usually does, she said. He shook his head. Not tonight. Get rest. Tomorrow is your first independent route walk. I'll follow at a distance, but you'll lead. Navera's pulse jumped. Fear mixed with a flick of anticipation. You trust me to do that this soon? She asked. I trust the woman who faced a market full of eyes and didn't fold, he said. She let the words settle long enough to feel them, not dismiss them. Good night, Cade. Good night, Navera. When she lay beside Miri again, she realized her body didn't stay tense this time. The safety still felt new, but no longer foreign. And for the first time in months, she fell asleep without planning an escape route in her head. Morning light slid through the slats in narrow lines across the floor. Navera woke before Miri this time. She felt different, rested, steady, not bracing for the day. The faint soreness in her limbs remained, but the heaviness in her chest was gone. She sat up slowly, listening. The studio was quiet, but she sensed movement in the front room. She brushed Miri's hair back, kissed her temple, and left her sleeping. When Navera stepped out, she found Cade already dressed, sharpening a small multi-tool on a cloth. A mug of hot tea sat beside him. "You're early," she said. He glanced up. "Couldn't sleep long. Wanted to check the corridors before your walk." She felt a flicker of nerves. "You were serious about me leading today." "Yes," he said simply. "You're ready for the next step." Navera sat across from him. "What if I'm not?" "You don't need to be perfect," he said. "You only need to stay present." He slid a second mug to her. Plain metal, steam rising. No citrus, chamomile and ground leaf. She wrapped her hands around it. Warmth spread through her palms. She drank, the taste mild and earthy. A few minutes later, Miri stumbled in, hair messy, still half asleep, clutching her toothbrush. "Is the bravery test today?" "Yes," Kate said, "but not like yesterday." Miri blinked slowly. "Harder." "Different," he said. "Your mother leads today. You follow her, not me." Miri nodded, waking up fast at the responsibility. After washing and dressing, they prepared to leave. Navera tied her shawl neatly and checked the map strip once more, sliding it into the lining of her skirt. Miri placed her satchel across her chest. Kate didn't bring his full toolkit this time, only a pocket kit. Before unlocking the door, Kate spoke quietly to Navera. "If anything triggers you, tell me. I'm close, but this walk is yours." Navera inhaled once, controlled. "I'm ready." They stepped outside. Today, the terraces felt brighter, busier. A mild wind carried scents from the market below. Navera set her pace, slow at first, then more sure as she reached the familiar walkway. Miri walked at her left, matching the rhythm. Kate followed about 4 steps back, giving Navera space but staying in her line of awareness. At the first corner, a pair of delivery workers blocked most of the path while unloading crates. Navera scanned the space, adjusting her route. She chose to wait with posture straight rather than squeeze past. It was a small decision, but it showed control, not avoidance. One worker glanced at her, expression neutral. He stepped aside without comment. They passed through cleanly. Halfway down the walkway, a young officer, same gray coat as yesterday's warden, noticed them. He wasn't the same man, but his posture held the same trained authority. He stepped into Navera's personal space just enough to make a point. "You 3 moving as a group now." His tone tried to sound casual, but carried an edge. Navera felt her pulse jump. She kept her stance grounded. "We're walking the terrace." "That's allowed." The officer studied her markings and Miri's bells. "Not many hybrids stay here long. Most move along before people start talking." Cade's presence remained behind Navera, silent, ready. But he didn't step in. Navera felt the old instinct to shrink, to avoid trouble. She forced her chin level. "We're not harming anyone. So unless you have a regulation to cite, we'll continue." The officer's eyes flicked to Cade, realized he wasn't a casual escort, then stepped back with a forced shrug. "Just making conversation. Then find better topics," Navera said. She walked on without waiting for a response. Miri's hand found hers, not out of fear or pride. When they reached the last stretch of the route, Cade closed the distance and spoke low enough for only them to hear. "You handled that exactly right." Navera exhaled slowly. "My legs almost shook." "Almost," he noted, but they didn't. At the small food kiosk near the end of the route, Miri tugged Navera's sleeve. "Can I order this time, like a grown-up?" Navera hesitated, then nodded. "Yes, go." Miri stepped to the counter, placed her hands on the ledge, and ordered 3 small rolls and water with the confidence of someone who belonged here. The vendor treated her with normal courtesy. No stares, no comments, and that alone felt like a win. Back at the studio, they ate at the table. Navera's appetite came easier today. Her body felt more hers. After breakfast, Cade checked a small device on his wrist, an appointment alert. He turned to Navera. "I have 2 clients today, one in an hour, one late afternoon. You can stay here or use the time to rest. Or," he added, "you can shadow the first appointment. It's another orchard zone, different layout, good practice." Navera considered. Yesterday, she would have refused. Today, the idea didn't feel impossible. "I'll shadow the first one." Not the second. That's enough, he said. Miri raised her hand again. And me? You come, Kate said. Same rules as today. You follow your mother's lead. Miri nodded, serious and proud. Before they left again, Navera pulled Kate aside. Earlier, when the officer spoke to us, you didn't step in. You let me handle it. Yes, he said, because you could. I won't take your voice unless you need mine. Navera looked at him for a moment, the weight of that settling in her chest. It's been a long time since someone let me keep my voice. You never lost it, he said. You just needed space to use it again. Miri ran up, ready to go. If I'm brave again today, does that mean 4 meets tonight? Cade smirked slightly. We'll negotiate the menu later. They stepped out once more, this time with Navera leading by choice, not survival. The shift was subtle, but real. Today, she wasn't walking to escape danger. She was walking to reclaim the city beneath her feet. The second orchard zone sat deeper in the terrace system, quieter and more structured than the first. Rows of trees formed neat aisles, each marked with small numeric tags. Workers moved between them with crates and handheld scanners, the rhythm calm. It was the kind of place where people noticed disruptions quickly. Cade checked in with the supervisor, a woman in a dark green vest who recognized his guild stamp and waved them through without hassle. This alone made the air feel less hostile than yesterday. No stares, no whispers, just work happening around them. As they walked, Navera kept pace beside Cade, Miri just behind her. Navera felt alert but not tense. She took in the layout, exits, missed valves, wind direction. She wasn't scanning out of fear, she was learning. Cade watched her quietly and felt something inside him settle. She was no longer bracing for collapse. She was analyzing, preparing, thinking ahead. That mattered. The repair itself was simple. A timing panel had drifted, causing mist bursts to trigger 2 minutes early during shift changes. Cade removed the panel cover and pointed to the inner components so Navera could see, without turning the moment into a lesson she didn't ask for. These 3 wires control release timing, he said while securing a small clamp. If they loosen, the cycle fires early and hits whoever walks under it. Navera observed the spacing and the clamps. So a weak seal can be as dangerous as a broken valve. Exactly. She felt a small spark of competence. This knowledge wasn't charity. It was skill she could use anywhere. The supervisor approached after the fix. She gave a polite nod to Navera. You're with the auditor? Yes, Navera said, steady, learning the safe paths. The supervisor surprised her by responding without judgment. Good. We don't see hybrids often up here. If you have trouble with mist routing, report to my station. Don't walk it alone. Navera inclined her head. Thank you. No shrinking, no defensiveness, just a clean exchange between adults. When they stepped out into the corridor again, Miri broke into a tiny run ahead of them, bells chiming. Mama, you talk to her like a real person. Navera blinked, then let out a quiet breath that sounded like a laugh she wasn't used to letting out. I'm a real person. You sounded like it, Miri said, which, in her mind, was the highest praise. On the walk back, Cade didn't lead or follow. He walked beside Navera, step for step. An equal line. When they reached the studio, Navera paused outside the door instead of entering immediately. She looked out over the terrace, the same space that had felt threatening 2 days ago. Today, the view didn't press down on her. It felt open. Something feels different, she said. You took space today, Cade replied. Not by accident, by decision. Navera turned to face him fully. She felt nervous. Her pulse picked up, and she forced herself not to look away. You've helped more than you know. Not by carrying us, but by letting us stand. She hesitated, then added, I don't want this to end with us walking away after a week like we're never here. Cade held her gaze. Then don't walk away. Miri, busy trying to balance on the step rail, didn't notice the weight of the moment. Navera swallowed. Fear flickered. Fear of choosing wrong. Fear of depending again. She pushed through it. If we stayed, it would not be for safety. It would be because we choose to build something, not hide inside it. That's the only reason I would accept, Cade said. They went inside. The space felt different now. Not a shelter, but a beginning. Dinner that evening was simple, but but celebratory. Grilled Thai beef, seasoned the way Miri insisted, extra spicy, and a small bowl of sweet-cooked grain Cade rarely made. The heat filled their mouths, making Miri fan her face dramatically while laughing through the burn. Navera ate with a hunger that wasn't only physical. After, Cade made tea. Larn leaf, mild, with a soft, natural warmth. They sat with mugs in hand, the studio lights low. Miri lay on the floor drawing routes with a blunt stylus on discarded packaging, narrating each turn in a whisper. Navera watched Cade across the table, the lamplight catching the angles of his face. She felt something warm and steady move through her, a quiet safety mixed with desire, not to be rescued, but to rest with someone who didn't take. "I have a question," she said. "Ask it. If we stay, what would that look like for you? I don't want to misunderstand your intentions." Cade set his mug down. He didn't rush. "I don't want a guest, or someone dependent on me. I want a partner beside me. Someone who chooses to be here when she could be somewhere else. If that's not what you want, I'll still help you stand on your own." Navera absorbed that. No demand, no pressure, just truth. She moved closer, slow, intentional. "I don't want to be helped anymore. I want to choose where I stand. And today, I wanted to stand here." She reached out and placed her hand over his. Not tentative, certain. Cade covered her hand with his. Firm, present. A small sound interrupted them, Miri yawning loudly. "If you two are to talk like grown-ups forever, can I sleep in the bed again? The floor feels like a rock pretending to be soft." Cade almost smiled. "Yes, Miri. Bed." Miri dragged her blanket to the back room and disappeared inside. Silence returned, lighter, fuller. Navera didn't pull her hand away. "There's one more thing," she said quietly, fingers unconsciously brushing her lower abdomen as she spoke. "I'm late. It might be nothing, or it might be the start of a different kind of future." Cade didn't freeze or widen his eyes or fill the air with questions. He just tightened his hand around hers, steady as always. "If it is, we face it together. Not because you need me, because I want to stand with you." Emotion tightened Navera's throat. She didn't look away. "Then we stay." He leaned in, not rushed, not uncertain, just close enough for his forehead to touch hers. The contact was small, but it felt like a vow. Miri's voice drifted from the back room, sleepy and satisfied. "If there's a baby, I get to pick one name. Not the weird name. A good one." Navera laughed under her breath, the sound real and unguarded. Cade exhaled, shoulders loosening with something close to relief. Tonight, there was no fear to sleep with, no escape route to plan, just a home beginning to form, not from necessity, but from choice. When the lights dimmed and the terrace quieted outside, the studio no longer felt like a temporary shelter. It felt like the place their lives would start from now.